Hello and welcome back to another episode of 1874 Full-Time Champions League Edition. I'm your host, Dan Bardell, and this show is sponsored by Luke Roper. If you want to get 20% off everything that Luke have to offer, then all you have to do is use the code TVV20 and you'll get 20% off everything that Luke have in their store. Brilliant stuff, including the t-shirt that I've got on right now. So yeah, if you've got the finances, go and treat yourself to some Luke goods, and that helps our channel very much. Right then. I'm in London again, early start, early morning, got meetings, and then I'm at TalkSport this afternoon, so I needed to jump on after yet another brilliant Champions League night at Villa Park. This is almost becoming the norm now, and a fantastic night once again. A really, really controlled, professional, dynamic performance from Aston Villa Football Club in the Champions League. That's now 3 from 3, 9 points, 3 clean sheets, and not only have we been one of the sides that everyone's been talking about Premier League wise both this season and last, and ever since Unai Emery arrived at the football club, we're now the talk of Europe, because this Aston Villa side and this manager is something special. Another brilliant atmosphere, hearing that Champions League music yet again, shivers down the spine. I think I enjoyed the music more second time round for some reason. You've got the what's it called? I don't even know what it's called. The Tifo with the Lions coming down before the game. Really nice work from the club, and the atmosphere was just so vibrant throughout. I can say all the stuff I've said about ticketing, and I won't go into this now on prices, but the atmosphere for the two Champions League games has been absolutely brilliant. It's just a shame that because of the overzealous pricing, not everyone who wants to go, not every season ticket holder has been able to afford to go to every game. But nonetheless, atmosphere brilliant, fans top class last night. Really liked Emery's team selection. I've talked about it with Greg, I've talked about it with Jacob. I've been waiting for Unai Emery to kind of make some changes, rotate the side a little bit, and it hasn't happened. But lo and behold, it happened last night. Ian Maatsen coming in at left back. I mean, I'll come on to him. I thought he was absolutely tremendous in the role. Brilliant performance from him. John Duran playing up front and just looking top class. Diego Carlos kept his place alongside Pau Torres, and Consa went to right back, and Super John McGinn, who we know scored, came into play as that kind of left number 10 and captain Villa at Villa Park on a Champions League evening. Really special for him. And like I said, I just liked that Emery felt that he could rotate. What I really liked was, those players came in. Brilliant win at the weekend against Fulham. Really good performance. But players come in now, and there's just no drop off whatsoever. This squad is so strong. To have everyone fully fit like we have at the moment, I don't think I'm missing anyone. This is a position that Villa haven't been in for probably a year and a half, a year now, of just having everyone available. And boy, you look at that bench, there's some tremendous players on there, some really high level operators waiting in the wings and ready to come on. Special shout out to Tyrone Mings. Really special that he's back amongst it. He was on the bench as one of the 12 subs, didn't get on last night, but got a brilliant reception from the Villa fans, and even just seeing him in and around the warm-up and on the bench warming up as well during the game, that's really great for him. He's such a good guy, such a great ambassador for the football club, and has been such an important player for Villa, that just to have him back amongst it on a match day will be a boost. I'm sure he's never been too far away this season in terms of being around the place and being around the dressing room on a match day, but just to have him in and around it again, in and amongst it, he'll feel part of it now for sure, and it won't be long until we see him back on the pitch. Hopefully, I would think Crystal Palace next week. And yeah, not like the Bayern game. I just felt Villa had control from the off. It was a really professional performance from Villa. So much I saw that impressed me. I thought Fulham was our best performance so far this season on Saturday. Would I go as far as to say that was Villa's best performance of the season on Tuesday night against Bologna? I think I probably would. I think there was some pressure on Villa. I think the Bayern Munich game, he probably made Villa favourites. We'd navigated the tournament well so far in the first two games, and Bologna are no mugs, but I think most people would have made Villa favourites, and with that there comes different responsibilities in the football match, and I think Villa and Unai Emery, they handled those responsibilities really well, building up with the back three, although Consa did have licence to kind of act as a more traditional right back and overlap when necessary. I feel the need to give Diego Carlos a shout out. I think he's been absolutely brilliant since the Wolves and Ipswich game. He had couple of difficult days there and was getting stick from certain quarters. Maybe just a little bit rusty, had niggles, knew his future may have lied elsewhere in the summer, but he's got his head down now and he's playing some really, really brilliant football. And it just does seem that when Villa play against that high level opposition, he really steps up and shows what a high class defender he is. And I almost think this Emery side and Aston Villa, it's built for playing against better teams. Some of the football we played last night was so controlled, so sophisticated. The one-touch stuff, the movement, the way players were dropping in and popping up in space. We just played some fantastic stuff. It was a joy to watch for that whole 90 minutes. And I think in that first half, Bologna probably did carry a little bit of a threat and perhaps could have scored. Emi Martinez made a couple of saves and they wasted a couple of chances. But I will say that every time we go forward, we look like we're going to score, and in the second half we really nullified them whilst taking control of the game, getting ourselves in the ascendancy and doing the business and getting the goals that won the game. I think Duran obviously played up front instead of Ollie Watkins. He is a wild one, isn't he? He'll run round, he'll dive in, he'll make slide tackles, and he'll press in a different way to Watkins. It's probably not as measured and controlled as Ollie Watkins, and his pressing in fairness, it probably isn't as effective as Ollie Watkins, but he puts himself about, he makes himself a nuisance, and he was an outlet in that first half, and I think he did cause Bologna problems without really having any massive chances. I think he might have had a header off a set piece in the first half. I haven't seen the game back yet. I'm just coming in and doing this on the fly this morning off the top of my head, but I think he had that header in the first half from a set piece. Set pieces were good again last night, in my opinion, but he just carries a different type of threat to Ollie Watkins, and he does occupy defenders, and he does give defenders something to think about. And Bologna could never settle, and he was up against a fellow Colombian in their defence as well, which I'm sure he would have enjoyed very much. But in that first half, I thought we're kind of a different team when Duran plays up front to Watkins. I fully expect Watkins to come back in on Saturday, and it's great to be able to not give him a rest, but manage his minutes in with a big Premier League game coming up and give other players a chance. And like I said earlier, it not weaken the side. But the standout player for me in that first half was Ian Maatsen. Luca Dean has been absolutely incredible and was my man of the match against Fulham at the weekend. I think I'll probably go as far as to say Ian Maatsen was my man of the match last night. A very different type of left back, although obviously Unai Emery wants him and Dean to do similar things in terms of how high they are up the pitch, but just the way he can drive with the ball, the way he can get in behind players from left back. He was a really, really different option for Villa, and I feel with his distribution as well, he's quite creative. And what a brilliant headache for Unai Emery to now have with these two left backs, because Luca Dean's been on top form, some of the form of his life, and Ian Maatsen, considering it's only his second start, big deal starting a Champions League game, albeit he's very used to playing Champions League football now. I just thought he was absolutely sensational throughout. Really, really impressed with him. And, you can see why Villa wanted to sign him. We all knew his qualities, but to see it in the flesh, in person at Villa Park last night, he's a hell of a left back, and he's going to be a hell of a player moving forward for the football club. The goal didn't come in the first half, but we rarely panic. The game plan rarely deviates from what it needs to be. And if it's not working, Unai Emery would change it. But I think he would have watched that first half and thought, it'll come in front of the whole end. I think he would have liked the football that we played, because we did play some really good stuff. Although, like I say, the goal didn't come, and then eventually in the second half, it did come, and it came via a quite unique avenue. Obviously, McGinn was not intending to shoot directly from that free kick, but when you put in a ball of that quality, I've heard him talk about his set piece delivery before and say he's got a club foot, but his delivery is actually really, really good, and I've thought that for a long, long time. And he swung it in, kind of curled it in, and it missed everyone and nestles in the bottom corner. And really, really pleased for him, because he missed that first game at Villa Park in the Champions League against Bayern. And from speaking to Conor Harahan, that would have hurt him. He'd have been upset about that. He'd have really wanted to be part of it, but he was part of it last night and part of an excellent team display. I said in the preview with Jacob or in the podcast with Greg, I can't remember which one, that I thought he might come in and start. This felt very much like a John McGinn game, and that left-hand side, him and Maatsen, I thought they complemented each other really nicely. The wider Maatsen pushed, the more McGinn could tuck in and kind of take up that left number 10 role, and Rodgers kind of move aside and make himself a little bit more of a right number 10 off Duran, and it was just really effective. And most of the the good stuff did come through Rodgers. Maatsen, I think, if you were to watch that game back. But McGinn was involved in a hell of a lot of good as well. And then, not long after, you can see the high-level subs warming up. Aston Villa, how are we in a position where we're bringing on Ross Barkley, Jacob Ramsey, Boubacar Kamara, Ollie Watkins? We are bringing on some brilliant footballers. And Duran probably would have seen that Watkins was about to come on, but he made sure he got his goal. Diego Carlos, again, can't speak highly enough of him at the moment. He did an excellent ping to Luca Dean in the game against Fulham at the weekend. This one to Rodgers, equally as good. An absolute arrow into him. Probably didn't take the best first touch, Morgan Rodgers, but put it across to Duran, and he just gets on the end of things. He just finishes so nicely and scores a variety of goals, and that's another one that he can add to his highlight reel this season. Just getting in front of his man, and a really unique finish from him. Nestles it in the back of the net and then walks off to the acclaim of the Villa faithful as Ollie Watkins replaces him. A bit's been made of his reaction on the bench. You can almost see John McGinn laughing at him. I think Tillemans would have referenced it after the game as well in his interview from the brief clip that I saw. But I've no real problem with what I did see. All I saw was him sat down on the seat, kicking the chair or kind of punching the chair and being frustrated that he'd come off. But I've got no problem with that. But just brilliant that he came in and got a Champions League start. That'll do him the world of good, because he has come off the bench an awful lot, and good to see him score playing a game from the start as well, because it sometimes feels like he'll start a game and he'll not be as effective as when he comes off the bench. But I guess he'll be back to the bench again on Saturday against Bournemouth. And then Villa played some lovely stuff. Could have scored more. Ramsey was a bit crestfallen at the end when he missed that chance. But again, just players coming on, players coming in, players coming out. The football doesn't change. The scoreline, 2-0. The football still doesn't change. We still play some lovely stuff, and we got that clean sheet in the end with relative ease. And there's 3 clean sheets now in the Champions League, 3 wins. What we're doing is unprecedented. And like I said earlier, kind of better the opposition, the more elite the tournament, the more Unai Emery just seems to come to the fore. And what a special manager we have, what a special bunch of players we have, and just what a special football club we are as well. I wouldn't want to support anyone else. I've always been proud to be a Villa fan. I've spent a lot of my life, I don't anymore, but living in London, and everyone's like, oh, who do you support? Villa, and oh God, you're not doing great. Oh yeah, you're a big club, but not doing well. I know we've not won anything, but I'm just so proud to be a Villa fan at the moment. I go to TalkSport this afternoon full of beans, talking about my club. Everyone wants to talk about my club and talk about Villa, and Villa are operating at a level that we could only dreamed of, 4 or 5 years ago, even 2 years ago, but before Unai Emery came in, to have done it this fast and be the kind of outfit that we are. 2 years on now, Unai Emery, just can't speak highly enough of the man. What a manager! Start building that statue now. Get the plans together, because at some point this guy's going to have a statue outside of Villa Park, and he'll thoroughly deserve it. So you just wanted to jump on and talk about the game a little bit. Appreciate it could probably be perceived as a little bit of a ramble at times. I've got nothing in front of me. I've been up really early. I've been at the game last night. I've come and just put something together quickly so that I can give my thoughts. Busy day. I said, but wanted to do something and wanted to talk about last night, and I'll spend my day talking about it. I could talk about it forever, because Villa are playing in the Champions League, winning in the Champions League, winning in the Premier League as well. Great start to the Premier League season. Just how fortunate are we to have this manager and support our club. Do all the things that I bang on about every week. If you could, if you're listening via audio, if you could subscribe, reviews on Apple Podcasts are massive, and give star ratings on Spotify and Apple as well, and comment on YouTube, and give the video a like if you've enjoyed it. And please, if you're not already subscribed to the channel with your post notifications on, if you could do that, that really helps the channel grow. I'll be back tomorrow, I would imagine, for a match preview of the Bournemouth game. If it's not tomorrow, it'll be Friday. But keep your eye on our socials, and you'll know exactly when the videos or the podcasts, the shows are coming out. Have a brilliant day. Drink it in, revel in it. Be proud to be a Villa fan, and as always, up the Villa.